For pet care providers and dog trainers and pet photographers, email is not just another marketing channel. It's a direct line to your clients. But sending an email is only half the battle, and making sure it actually lands in the inbox is where the magic and sometimes the frustration happens. And that's where Flodesk's expertise comes in. Joining me today is Dawn Richardson. She is the product education manager at Flodesk, and she helps business owners not only master the platform, but also understand the strategies that make email marketing more effective. From improving deliverability to making the most of seasonal opportunities like Black Friday and the holidays. If you have ever had an email that goes to spam and you're like, why did this not get delivered? Because I know that's a big issue. This is going to be a podcast you're going to want to listen to. It does not matter if you use Flodesk or if you use another platform. She has so much helpful information, so many great examples, so many things to do to prepare for the holidays when it comes to email marketing and deliverability that this is a must listen, and it's so much fun. And I'll share my special Flodesk partner link in the show notes of this episode and talk about it a little bit in the episode as well so that you can gain access to that. And a little housekeeping item before we get into this episode. I do want to disclose for my avid podcast listeners who are excited to listen every 2 weeks that we will not be doing our next episode, as I will be attending and speaking at the Dogco Business Summit with Michelle Klein, which I'm super excited about. So that is why you will not see an episode pop up at our normal time slot, which is every other Tuesday, but we'll have one the following 2 weeks after that. So thank you so much for being an avid listener of this podcast. You guys all rock so much. But as we head into today's episode, if you do want to start with email marketing and choose this amazing software, I really believe is the best for pet care providers, dog trainers, pet photographers, you name it, this is going to be a great episode listen for you, and I will not make you wait any longer. Welcome, Petpreneur, to the Pet Marketing Unleashed podcast. I'm your host, Michaela Vargas, founder, designer, and educator behind Pet Marketing Unleashed. This podcast is all about growing your pet business without the stress. Here, you'll find episodes packed with actionable tips and advice for streamlining your online presence, avoiding burnout, and onboarding new clients while you're away from your desk or out with the dogs. So pop in those earbuds and learn stress-free marketing and website strategies with me while you head out on your next dog walk, pet sitting visit, drive to your next session, or just wherever your pet business takes you next. Let's dive in. Dawn, thank you so much for being here to talk to us about email marketing, email deliverability, holiday prep when it comes to email. For our listeners that have never heard of Flodesk, which a lot of our pet industry listeners have not utilized email marketing, so another reason why I'm so excited to talk to you about this, but can you start by just sharing a little bit about what Flodesk is all about and how it supports small businesses?
Yes. So hi, everybody. Thank you for having me, Michaela. It's so nice to be here. Flodesk is a relatively new company. We've been around since 2019, around there. And our mission was to bring email marketing to the small business owner and make it accessible and easy to use and beautiful, because there's a lot of email marketing tools out there. You might be familiar with some of the big ones, but we wanted to make email marketing easy and fun for these smaller businesses who didn't have these huge design budgets or maybe design skills or strong technical skills. We wanted to make it easy and intuitive and really show them how powerful email marketing can be for their small business. So we support small businesses, and I've had 2 small businesses, and both have been wildly successful. Thank you to Flodesk and my email marketing strategy. And it's just something that's a little bit of an untapped market in terms of ways for businesses to monetize and grow and scale in a way that's not social media or, like your website, things like that. So that's why we're here. We're here to support and champion the small businesses and make it accessible to them.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love that you bring up comparatively to social media as well, because I feel like so many of us are falling into that trap where it's like, okay, we got to spend all of this time on social media, but there's only like 2% of our followers that are even seeing our stuff. Versus emails, when someone is joining your email list, they're saying they're interested and they're going to see it in their inbox. It's such a powerful game changer, and it's one that I really encourage so many pet business owners to tap into. Like you said, it's so undertapped, especially for local pet service businesses. It's not something that's a priority, and that's what we're here to change today.
Yes. And you guys are the perfect market for this. So we'll talk all about that. I can't wait to dive into ideas for everybody.
Yes, perfect. So before we get into the actual email marketing stuff, I'd love to talk email deliverability. And as we talked about a little bit before we hit record, I've had so many clients who have said, my email's going to spam. Like, what's going on? There's been a lot of changes when it comes to new rules and how to set this up. And there's just so much there. So I would love to start with that. And for people who are dealing with emails going to spam or don't even know if emails are going to spam or getting delivered, can you explain what is email deliverability and why should we care?
Totally. So this is the big hot topic right now. And what I'm going to share here is relevant to you regardless of what platform you're using. So I hope you can take nuggets away from this no matter what you're doing. But what we're seeing, so we send billions of emails off our platform. And when we think of these inbox providers, so when I say that, I'm thinking of Google, I'm thinking of Yahoo, iCloud, Outlook. Those are the inbox providers out there. They each have their own rules and algorithms that determine how or who or what is going to show up into their inbox. And I want to take a step back here for a second because I think a lot of people feel very personally attacked by some of these platforms. They're like, oh, they hate small businesses. They put me in the spam folder. But I also want you to take a minute and consider the fact that these providers are in the market of protecting their users. We are in a world where spoofing, spam emails, people pretending to be somebody else is rampant. We've all gotten that email from who we think is PayPal saying oh, you need to log in because somebody said this transaction. And that is what they're worried about. They're in the market of making sure that legitimate people are the only people that get put in front of their users. And in that process, we see sometimes that our business emails tend to get caught in those traps, right? And that's what happens. So what we've noticed, and again, we don't have a playbook from Google where Google's here's our algorithm, here's how to work the system. So this is just data and observations, and we see things change and evolve over time. And the reason why I want to talk about that too is because something that might have worked for you last year might not be working for you anymore. And a lot of people tend to blame the platform or oh, so-and-so changed something or they broke it on their side. But that's not necessarily the case. A lot of times these algorithms are just evolving and changing over time. So keep in mind, just because it worked for you last year, it might not work for you this year. We got to keep up with the trends. But the biggest thing that we're seeing across the board, especially in the Google world, okay, Google's our biggest inbox provider. Most people are using some type of Google email address. We're seeing that they are prioritizing people who are sending to active subscribers. Okay, so what that means, when I send an email and a lot of people open that email, Google says, nice, people must really want that email. But if you're sending an email to a bunch of people that might not really know who you are or don't know how they got on your list or are not engaging in their emails, Google and these platforms are going to recognize that and they're going to start to penalize you. And when you continue to send to these people that are consistently not opening your emails, Google's going to go, well, this must be junk. And guess where you end up? Straight into the spam folder. On that same note, these platforms love consistency. Okay, so when it comes to email marketing, one of the most important things you can be is consistent. And I tend to recommend bare minimum at least one email a month. After about 4 to 6 weeks is when we see domains go cold, is the term that we use. But being consistent is important. These inbox providers don't love surprises. So if you're somebody who has an email list and you haven't emailed your list all year and then Black Friday rolls around and you want to blast your email list, you've probably earned yourself a one-way ticket straight to the spam folder. So keep that in mind. You want to be consistent. So if you want to do things this holiday season, now is the time to start cleaning up your list, which is something we're going to talk about. Start sending those emails, maybe in small batches to kind of warm up Google to let you know that you're here again and that you're trustworthy and people want your emails. And be consistent leading up. That's going to be your best thing to do as you move on, especially through the holiday season. We see spam filters tend just to be slammed in the holiday season just because so many emails are being sent. But it makes sense because most entrepreneurs make over 30% of their revenue during the holiday season. So it's just a busy time for us. But if you set yourself up for success early, you're going to really be in a great place. Another thing I want to mention too is authenticating your domain. So if you are sending from an email marketing platform like Flodesk, we highly, highly recommend that you use what's called a custom domain email. So this is an email that ends in your business name. So at techsavvycreative.com and not at google.com or at yahoo.com. Those free email addresses is the first red flag that these spam filters see, because that's what spammers use. They use the free ones, right? They're not paying for it. So use that custom domain email address, get it through your domain provider or your website, and then you're going to authenticate it. This is where you go into Flodesk, you get some fancy records that have all these weird characters in it. You copy it over to your DNS settings in your website, and that verifies that you are legitimate. It tells the inbox providers that you are who you say you are, and you're somebody that's worthy of being in the inbox. So that's also another thing you want to make sure you're doing as you move into the season.
Okay. Yeah, I have so much to say on all of that you just mentioned. It was so helpful. I'm like, okay, done. We're good to go. As far as the authentication too, that's something that I just want to note too. Whenever I've had clients email us and say that their emails are going to spam, it's like 100% of the time that they're not authenticated. That's so important. Yeah. Like you have to do like
so important. Like it's just a way that these inbox providers can validate that you are who you say you are and you're not pretending to be somebody else. Yeah. That's key. Because again, anytime you get a spam email, I guarantee it ends in at Gmail or at iCloud or at Yahoo. Mm-hmm. It's the first line of defense for these inboxes.
Absolutely. Okay. And then as far as the list cleaning, I want to get into that. But first, because you talked about active subscribers, do you have a baseline of, well, number one, how do you know who's active and not active? Is it just a matter of your open rate? Like what's a good open rate? How do you sense that?
Ooh, good question. So everybody's going to be a little different, because for me, who sends like maybe less often in my business because I'm working full time and doing other things in my life, for me, a active subscriber might be somebody who's opened an email in the last 6 months. Where somebody who maybe sends a weekly email, that threshold might be a little bit less. Maybe it's 90 days that they determine whether somebody's active or not active. So that's up to you, and you can use the filters in Flodesk to determine, how long ago do you want them to be filtered out or so on. And then as of this week, we actually released advanced filters in Flodesk, so you can filter your audience based off of their open rate or their click rate or whatever that might be, or when did they subscribe or what segments are they in. You can filter all of that out and create these really advanced filters, which is pretty cool. But for some context, industry average for email marketing is normally about a 20% open rate. That's kind of like the point in time where I'm like, okay, things aren't going well, is if it's below that. Because when you're talking about something called your sender reputation, if you can consistently are sending and it's low, you're just constantly damaging your reputation. So that's that threshold for me, is that about 20%, 25%, that I would say is industry average. And if I go below that is when I start to really reevaluate things. But what we're seeing is with our members who are using these best practices, specifically with list cleaning and sending to an active, engaged audience, we're seeing 60, 70, 80, sometimes 90% open rates. Like the numbers are obscene. And even myself, who has worked with accounts that have like hundreds of thousands of subscribers, if we focus on an engaged list and doing something called warming your domain really slowly, we've seen emails sent with hundreds of thousands of recipients and still getting those really stellar numbers. When it comes to click rate, a stellar click rate normally is about the 2% category. So if you're in there, you're doing great. That's pretty average, but it's not like a situation where like a 90% is an A. It's very different in the email marketing world. And I think it does take people a little while who are not familiar with email marketing to become okay that like 30% is great.
Mm-hmm. Or that when you send emails, you're going to get unsubscribed. So.
Oh, yes. And that's actually the best thing that can happen, right? Because we want people to leave that don't want to be there, because the worst thing that they're going to do is mark you as spam. Then you're getting flagged to Google and things are bad. So if somebody doesn't want to be there and they want to leave, please be my guest. Make it easy for them to go. That does nothing but help you maintain a solid, clean, and active list. So there's a lot of little mental barriers that we have to jump through. And I feel like there's also the world of vanity metrics too. Like on Instagram, we care about our followers and do we have over 10,000? It's all these little vanity metrics. And that was kind of the case for email marketing too. People were like, how many subscribers can I get? And it was this goal. But especially as these algorithms are changing, we're learning that quality far outweighs quantity. And for me, when I think back to my photography business, for example, I made multi-six figures off my email list and I had like 300 subscribers. Like, we're not talking like a big deal thing. I was doing something local. I was selling an offer that was only available to my email list and it always sold out. And I never had to talk about it on social media. Like, that is the perfect market for the people that are listening to this, whether it's like pet sitting or photography or like what other kind of service do you offer that like you can connect with your audience in a very intimate way. And now you can just save the fun stuff for Instagram. You don't have to be selling constantly on Instagram. And that's just like a really powerful place to be. And that's why email marketing is so powerful.
Yeah, I love that. I feel like it just takes so much stress out because I feel like social media, I don't know, and maybe I'm biased when it comes to social media. I feel like, but it's so nice to be able, when you write those emails, I bet you writing that email that you sent out to your photography business clients, like that probably didn't take you that much time compared to creating a couple reels and doing the whole Instagram campaign. Imagine the ability of just being able to send out an email and actually make money from it. And it's incredible.
It's wonderful. Yeah. It is so nice. And they feel very like catered to and like special. Like, that's also the difference too, is like we like to say that social media is the handshake, the hello, the nice to meet you. Look what's going on in my world, where like email marketing is that like, let's go have coffee and talk about what's going on. Like, are you having a hard time training your pup? Like, are you, I always joke that like getting my puppy was harder than having a baby. Like, like, could that be a conversation? But that's something that you talk about in your emails in an intimate setting versus like a social media post, things like that. So think of like emails, that deepening relationship where you're connecting with people, but also collecting information from them about what they're interested in so you can send them targeted messages. You can't go on Instagram and make a post and say, only show this to cat owners or only show this to dog owners, but you can in email. And that's really cool.
Yeah, that is really cool. Okay, so before we get into that, what's the process when it comes to list cleaning? Is that something where you would just set a filter and email whoever hasn't responded to an email in, 90 days or whatever your threshold is and just say, hey, do you still want to be here? Or like, how does list cleaning work?
Yeah, that's a great question. So this is a little different on every platform, like the actual logistics of like the filters and things like that. But at Flodesk, we recommend you do it at least every 3 to 6 months. Like, make it a quarterly task. Like, go in there, see who hadn't opened any of your emails that quarter, and just get rid of them. So you have a choice in Flodesk to either delete somebody, which just removes them entirely. They're gone. You don't see them. No history. You can unsubscribe them. So they just are marked as unsubscribed. They stay in your account, but they're listed as unsubscribed, so you can't email them. Or you can put them into like another segment. Like, this is what I do. I call it cold subscribers. And anytime I email somebody, I exclude that segment. So I'm just like taking the subscribers and saying like they're old, like here they are for historical reasons. And if I'm in a good place, like when it comes to re-engagement campaigns, especially now that we're seeing Google and Yahoo like really kind of crack down on sending to like people that want my emails, re-engagement campaigns can be risky. So if you're in a healthy state, your domain reputation is good, like everything is going good, your open rates are good, maybe you do send that email to the cold list and it's like, are we breaking up? Like, have you ever gotten one of those emails that are like somebody says like, we're about to like cancel you, like, or whatever it is, like just to kind of catch your attention. And you can send them one of those emails, and if they click the button, you can take them out of the cold subscriber segment. But I would not do that unless you're in a good place, especially like this point in time. Even at Flodesk, when we run what's called a re-engagement campaign, we do it in small batches. We send them out and we monitor them, and we see like, okay, this one performed pretty good, but the one that we sent a couple days later maybe didn't perform great. Maybe we're getting closer to that 20% threshold that we don't love. We just stop. Because if we keep going and we keep sending to people that don't want the email, it's going to do nothing but damage our reputation at that point. So what you do with those subscribers is up to you. In my phase of life, I'm just here to like, I'm busy, like life is crazy. I just want to like get to people that actually want to hear from me. I am just simply getting rid of those people or unsubscribing them and moving on with my day. If somebody ever wants to come back to your email list, they absolutely can. They can just resubscribe and they'll come back. So just know that it's not permanent. They can always come back if they choose to. We also have to remember, and this is something that I think people have a hard time with mentally, is like they see an unsubscribe and they're like, oh my gosh, somebody doesn't like me or they hate my emails. And the answer might not be that. It could be something totally different. Like maybe you offer pet sitting services and they just lost their dog a couple months ago. Or like maybe they've moved, or maybe they're in just like a really crazy season of life where this is just not reasonable at this time, or maybe they're trying to protect their mental health, whatever it could be. There's so many different scenarios that is a reason why somebody could unsubscribe. And I guarantee you 90% of the time, 99% of the time, it's not because they don't like you. But a lot of us, like as business owners, we get that unsubscribe and we're offended. We're like, why'd they hate me? Like, what did I write that was so bad? And it wasn't. It was just, they didn't want to be there. And that's okay. Again, that's a good thing because they are self-selecting to not be there and not marking you as spam, which can be damaging to your reputation.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a positive with Flodesk too, because you can have unlimited. So you don't have to stress about like, okay, do I just delete these people or do I send them an email? That whole thing,
right.
That is something that I'm like mindful of. I'm like, well, I don't want to go to the next tier for payment wise if like these people aren't even engaged in my email at all. So yes, I love that Flodesk. You don't even have to think about that.
Yes. But also at the same time, like on that same note, that's also been something that we've seen across Flodesk users versus Kit, ActiveCampaign, and so on. Because they don't have to clean off their list, they hoard them more often.
Interesting.
We have a lot of what like I've been calling like email hoarders. Like they don't want to get rid of them because they don't have to.
Yeah.
But when you're paying for them, like, oh, like of course, bye. So the encouraging members, and this is like what I'm doing a lot, is like just helping them shift that mentality because it was like not necessary for so long. And as these algorithms are shifting, we got to crack down, guys. Like we're like not going to charge you. You're already one of our members. That's fine. But like you need to clean off your list. Just because you can have them doesn't mean you should.
Yeah.
And like encouraging people to do that is really hard. But I even saw a thread. I can't remember who it was from, but she said that she just deleted her entire list because she hadn't been sending in like a year and a half. And she talked about how much faster it grew back. And like it grew back plus some in like months. Because she just started fresh and she wasn't sending to junk emails at that point. And so it was just like a really great testament of like, sometimes it's better just to like clean things up and the people that want to be there will come back. Like they'll be there. If they're your biggest fans, they're going to subscribe and continue to cheer you on.
Yeah. No, that's such great advice. I feel like it's encouraging. I feel like I don't even want to do the like reactivation campaign. I'm like, if you're not active, then you know what I mean? It's like how many of those people decide they actually want to stay on if they're not already gold subscribers. So interesting. Yes. I love that. Okay, so beyond like the tech setup of authentication and all of that fun stuff, can you get into other best practices when it comes to the actual like content of the email that can lead people into spam or help improve deliverability?
Sure. Okay, so this one again is evolving over time. Things that I would say a couple of years ago are like absolutely true are still questionable at this point. And we have contacts with our like providers and they're telling us that things are not as important as they used to be. For example, image to text ratio. Like that used to be something where it's like you have to have like 80% one thing and 20% the other. But that's not as prominent to these filters anymore. Like again, they're concerned about like malicious links. So one of the things that we've seen is like if somebody sends an email and they get this like scary red banner at the top that's like there is a suspicious link in this email. Well, it turns out that they linked to their website and they didn't put the S in HTTPS and Google was like, I don't know what this is. It looks sketchy. So it's like silly things like that. So make sure that the links you're sending, like, are they secure links? Is your website secure? That's a big part of it too. So something like that. For usability reasons, not so much for spam filtering deliverability, but bad usability can lead to people marking you as spam. So this is something to consider. But using alt text, if you're using an image, make sure you're using alternative text in your accessibility settings to say what that either banner says or what the image is all about. So somebody who is using a screen reader or other accessibility settings are able to consume your content as well. That's important. It's important to those filters that people are able to read your emails. Also, use text when you can. At Flodesk, we tend to be very image heavy. Like we have beautiful layouts. They work well. They convert very well for us. But if I'm going to like go on a ramble about a story, I'm going to make sure to do that in a text box and not using some type of image block or layout block to do so. And across the board, like we've evaluated all of our emails and say like, okay, like this email was a 100% image send versus this one was half and half or full text. And across the board, deliverability wise, we're seeing pretty consistent results across all three of them. It's not like one is performing way better than the other. And that's something that has changed over time because it used to be that text used to be a bit more prioritized in those emails. Now, one thing I would say, and this applies to any platform, but Google does clip emails after a certain point. So I believe it's 102 kilobytes is the size of the email. It's some like weird number. But if your email is too heavy, it's too large, Google will like cut the bottom off of your email. So if you ever send a test to a Google account, scroll down to the bottom and see if you see the word message clipped on there. That just kind of tells you that Google's like, this is kind of reached our limit. So that's something that we warn people about. It's also something that we do right away if somebody has like 0% opens for some reason, because our tracking pixel is actually in the bottom of the email. So if it gets cut off, it can't track anything in the email. So that's like the first thing we do to see like what's going on. And it's almost 90% of the time clipped or something like that. So something to keep in mind, again, for all of those accessibility, like you want to make it accessible to all of your readers. You want to make it easy to consume. But the actual content itself is going to really differ on everybody's audience. My audience really values short, sweet, to the point tech tips. Your audience might prefer those longer stories, maybe something more beautifully written, heavier images. Or maybe you might have a newsletter with a lot of like pictures of the pups that you're taking care of. Like there's so many different things. You just have to determine what your audience is really reacting to. And that just takes a little bit of trial and error. But once you find it, like lean into it and don't be afraid to evolve as your audience evolves.
Yeah, I love that too, because I remember that was the whole thing way back in the day that like it needed to be very text heavy and as opposed to photos. But when you're a pet photographer or perhaps a groomer and you're showing before and afters, there's so many cases where the photos will actually be more effective than just text.
100%.
So that's awesome. I love that. Since today's conversation is with Dawn from the wonderful Flodesk, I can't help but share that Flodesk is the exact platform that I highly recommend for email marketing for pet service businesses. It's beautiful, it's simple to use, and it's packed with the tools that you need to create emails that look professional, reach inboxes, and connect with your audience. If you've been inspired by what we're talking about today so far and you want to give Flodesk a try, you can use my code UNLEASHED to get a 30-day free trial and 50%, that's 50, off your entire first year of Flodesk. Just head to the show notes or visit flodesk.com and enter UNLEASHED at checkout. It's such a simple way to create beautiful emails that you can segment and target specific people in your audience. It's so powerful, so beautiful, and so easy to use, even if you have no tech experience at all. I love it. All right, so let's get back to Dawn so you can keep learning all of the tips and strategies to make your emails even more effective for your business.
Well, and also think about like all of the big brands out there. Starbucks isn't sending you a plain text email. Like True. Petco, PetSmart, like whatever of these things out there, like nobody's sending you a Chewy. They're not sending you a plain text email. They're sending you a very heavy image email. And that's how these brands are marketing to us. They're showcasing their brands. And no, I don't need more coffee. I'm going to drink coffee anyway, but I always open a Starbucks email just because it's beautiful and interactive and I like to see what they're doing, so also take that into account. What are the emails that you like to open? Why do you like to open them? And can you replicate that in your strategy? Like, is it the images? Is it the color? Are you opening it because it's pretty? Are you opening it because it tells a story? Experiment with those things in your own strategy and you'll see the results come in.
Yeah. Okay. This is the perfect segue into one of the main reasons I also wanted to talk to you is the fact that, and we kind of alluded to this earlier, that a lot of pet business owners don't realize what they can do with email marketing. Because we do think a lot of times it's for online businesses or e-commerce businesses like Chewy or Petco. So can you share some insights into how local service-based businesses can grow their business using email?
Yes, absolutely. So I'm just going to put in examples from my own businesses and like how this worked really well for me when I was doing photography locally, for example. One of the best ways to utilize email marketing is for exclusivity. So on your website, could you have like a VIP list? Who gets first dibs at the holiday rush? Things like that. Like, we're getting into, so if you do pet sitting, like maybe you open up your pet sitting schedule to your email list 3 days before anybody else has access to it. That exclusivity, people like love it. In Flodesk, we have these countdown timers that you can put on your emails and in your forms. And that just drives a sense of urgency and people are just so afraid of FOMO, they will sign up, and it helps your conversion so much. So is it first dibs at sessions? Like, are you doing Santa minis for your dogs? Like, I don't know what it is. Like, there's so many different things that you guys can be doing, but you can offer it to your exclusive audience first. They are the first to know about your new offering. They're the first to know about your new dog. They're the first to know about what's going on in your world, and they feel like a VIP. So that's one great place to start. If you're not sure where to start there. Maybe just put your offer behind some type of time block and then give it to your email list first. Your worst case scenario, if nobody books on your email, is you continue on the other channels that you were going to do anyway. So everything is good. Another way, maybe it's a newsletter. Like, are you telling stories? Are you running profiles on the pets that you're with? I know that my pet sitter sends like holiday themed photos of my dog when she's sitting. Like, we got a Father's Day photo from her. Like, maybe can you showcase all of the pups that you had at your boarding facility during the holidays? Like, is there ways that you can incorporate just like keeping things posted, like what's going on? Or maybe you're sharing about local events that support the shelters. Or are you writing blog content that gives you tips and tricks on how to survive the holidays with a new pet? Or, whatever that might be. Like, can you educate, like something that you're already creating, share that and repurpose that into your emails as well? If you're selling things, maybe you're selling a physical product or a download or a checklist or something like that, you can always use email marketing for that too. Again, launch it to your list first. You can use your list to collect information about what they're interested in. Like, that's another example. If you're not sure what to build, maybe ask them. See what they want. What do they want to learn from you? One of my favorite features in Flodesk, I use it constantly, is called link actions. So for example, let's say I have I can do like buttons or like icons like on my Flodesk email. And I can be like, get special tips for, and I can say dog owners, cat owners, fish owners. I don't know. But like you can have these cute little icons. But when they click on cat, well, you can probably assume that they're a cat owner if they said like, oh, I'm a cat owner. Well, when they click on that with a link action, you can assign them to a segment that says they're a cat owner. So if you have a special deal coming up just for cats, or maybe you have some type of content that's related just to cat owners, you now have a targeted audience in your email marketing platform where you know that people are at least interested in cats. So you're going to send them over there. But for me, who may have only clicked dog because I'm allergic to cats, like if you send me an email about cats, I'm just going to ignore you at that point. Like that's not targeted content for me, right? But if you know that I'm a dog owner, you're going to tell me about your next meetup at the dog park. You're going to tell me about this bandana download you can have, or like whatever it is that's related to what I am. And that's why it, again, makes email marketing so special, is because you can get the right content to the right person at the right time. Where on social, you're just kind of like throwing spaghetti on the wall and see who enjoys it and see who even sees it at that rate. So there are so many ideas. We can go all day. But like lean in and see what people are clicking on. Use those link actions to capture what people are clicking on and put them into categories. If they clicked a link on if they clicked a link in your email that is about like pet gifts to buy for the holidays, like building your dog a stocking for Christmas, I don't know. I'm just making up stuff at this point. Maybe like those are the people that would probably be really interested in your Amazon links, so you have like a targeted audience that you can send to. And when people are getting content that's relevant to them, that they're interested in, they're always going to come back and they're always going to open your emails. And when they open your emails, Google, Yahoo are like, they have to get these emails. So there you are, front and center in the inbox. So it's all a big cycle that all works together.
I love that. That was so helpful. And I feel like I've never thought about it from the perspective of like making it super exclusive to who's on the email list. Like that makes it so special. Makes people more likely to open it and more likely to just even want to be a part of it and to sign up. That's really awesome.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, so let's talk about the holidays. They're obviously coming up.
Yes.
So let's brainstorm a little bit. Do you have any ideas or advice on how pet business owners can specifically prep to use email for the holidays specifically? What should they share for the holidays? What do you do?
Yeah. So again, everybody's business is a little different. So the actual content you're sharing is going to be very different. And I am not a pet business owner, so please take this with a grain of salt. You guys are probably like laughing at me like, okay, weirdo. But now is a really great time to talk about this because we're coming into the holiday season. If we're like talking about this like the week before Black Friday, it's too late. So keep that in mind. You want to start now. We want to get that list cleaned up. We want to make sure you're authenticated. If you have not sent in a long time, we need to talk about warming up your audience, sending to small batches to kind of warm things up and get Google to trust you a little bit here. So you got to start that now to be ready for the holiday rush. But once we get there, what are some ways that we can connect and maybe collect more information about our audience? Like, are you running a poll in your email? Are you sharing your latest download and freebie and seeing who clicks on it? Are you sharing maybe 4 blog posts and based off of what people interact with, you're helping kind of target them a little bit better? Maybe even ask them a question. Say, hey, what are you interested in hearing about? Give them 5 buttons and whatever they click on is what they get assigned to. So there's so many different ways that you can kind of survey your audience to build data that's just going to make your strategy better down the line. For me, once I have that data, that's kind of when I'm going to make the decision because this might actually drive my decision on what I'm going to sell. You know, if all of a sudden I realize that hundreds of people wanted a tutorial video out of me, well, maybe I need to put my time and energy into making an email that has a tutorial in it, you know, things like that. So use that information, what your audience is actually looking for to drive what you're sending down the line. Also, don't be afraid to like go off the beaten path a little bit. Like just because it's Black Friday doesn't mean you have to send a Black Friday email. You know, like it's crazy that time of year. And I think a lot of people feel this pressure. And now it's just almost like a Black Friday month at this point. You get the early Black Fridays and the early Black Fridays. And then you get the late Black Fridays and the Cyber Mondays and the small business Saturdays. You know, there's so many different things out there. So don't feel like you're set to a restricted calendar in this season. Do what makes sense for you. Maybe it's an email like, hey, you want to go shopping on Friday? I got you. Like I have a couple of spots open for like walks that day or like whatever it might be. Maybe you're playing into the fact that everybody else is going to be doing shopping or whatever it is. Or like get outside, like take a break, get off the computers, Cyber Monday, like let's go for a walk, whatever that might be. Like what are those things that you can do? And then if you have people that have purchased things with you, maybe somebody who has purchased photography with you in the past, like what are other things that you can offer? Can you teach them how to store their photos properly? Can you sell them albums? Can you sell them prints? Like get your holiday print ready to go to gift to your family or like whatever, Christmas cards. That was a very popular thing for me as a photographer. Like people love to order Christmas cards and I helped them through that whole process, getting that out the door before the holiday season. So again, it's totally up to you and your business, but don't be afraid to lean into your email. Use it. Take the data. My motto is always data over drama. Let's collect as much information as we can and then make smart decisions on it. So see what they're interested in and then decide what your strategy is and take note of it. Maybe next year you change it up because it didn't work. Maybe you try again. Maybe it was wildly successful and you repeat it in the spring, in the summer, and the fall. But you have to actually do it and try to get any of that data. And that's where a lot of small business owners fail, is they just don't because they are overwhelmed by it. And then they don't have any data to act from. And here we are.
Yeah. I'm so glad you brought that up. That was the next thing I was going to say is we love data at Pet Marketing Unleashed. So I love that you brought up data and even looking into, because, you know, as we prepare for the holidays as well, as what is the primary source of your revenue right now or what needs to be booked more or, you know, looking at the data of your actual business and your numbers to help also determine email content could be really helpful. But I love that you talk about it's not just sending out a mass Black Friday email. It's looking at the data that you can collect starting now from your email list of what are they interested in? Are they a dog owner? Are they a cat owner? Being able to segment that. And the nice thing with Flodesk is that it makes it so easy to do that. Like, because I feel like, you know, we talk about this and like, oh, segmentation, blah, blah, but there are so many platforms where that's really a confusing and very tech heavy type of process. Whereas Flodesk, I feel like makes it so simple that like, I don't want you to be listening to this and be overwhelmed. Like it's so straightforward to set all of this up.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it evolves and grows over time. So don't feel like you have to have it right as soon as you set things up, right? Like for me, I started with maybe 5 segments. I think I have 130 of them now. Like I just checked the other day. So like your strategy is going to evolve and change over time. Don't be overwhelmed by what it could be eventually. Just get started now. Start small, and you'll find new ways to refine as you go.
Yeah. And like you said, even just starting with one email a month. Because I know that so many of you are like, we're so busy. We have so much going on now. Like here we are talking about yet another platform to be on. But with email, I feel like it's so much more effective than so many of the other strategies like social media. I mean, obviously depends on your business. But with email, it's lower effort, I feel like, for much larger impact. And that's why I love email so much. And Flodesk is such an easy platform to use that it's like, why not get started? I mean, why not?
Yeah. Why not? Why not? And not only that, like Flodesk forms are free always. So like if maybe you're in a season where you're like, okay, I know that I need to do email, but I'm not ready to. Maybe it's a January 1 thing for me, whatever that might be, right? You can still get a Flodesk form on your website, multiple forms. You can put them in your link in bio. You can put them on your website. You can put them everywhere. They're totally free. So you can start collecting your subscribers now. And then when you are in that season where maybe you are ready to sit down and start emailing a list or creating a newsletter, you already have subscribers that have opted in and they're ready to hear from you. So that's my challenge to everybody here is like, go on, just put a sign up for our VIP, like to be the first to know about our upcoming spots or whatever it is. Allow people to sign up. And then when the time comes where you are actually ready to announce something, that's when you can become a subscriber and then go from there. But until then, you can just collect and not worry about it.
That's so awesome. I love that you guys have that feature. It's funny too, because I hear so many when people are, going on to talk about email list or even just growing or marketing their business, they always talk about how, man, I just wish I would have started collecting emails first. Like before this or before I did this, like I should have been collecting and starting a list and I never did.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that's amazing advice. Okay. So for somebody who is ready to get started with email marketing or someone who's looking into all the different platforms, can you share a little bit about how Flodesk is different, maybe from looking above, more general?
Oh, sure. Yes. Yes. So let me tell you this. So I have my business, Tech Savvy Creative. We teach tools across the board. Our motto at Tech Savvy is the best tool is the tool that you'll use. Okay. And for me in my businesses, I used many of the email marketing platforms. And it was always that thing for me that I was just like, I know I'm supposed to do this, but I really don't want to. And it was always the thing that kind of fell on the back burner, which I'm sure a lot of you kind of feel that way. Well, I felt that way until Flodesk came, and it launched in the middle of one of my seasons of my business, and then I tested tools for a living. So I'm like, oh, I gotta go check out this tool. It's new. People are talking about it. I'm gonna go check it out. And that was the first time that I actually enjoyed writing an email. And that's when everything changed for me, because it was for the first time I actually wanted to use the tool. I wanted to do email marketing, and it felt not scary. Sometimes you get into some of these platforms and it almost feels like they're trying to be smarter than you are. And I don't love that. Like they want to tell you that they're way smarter than you and you don't know what you're doing. So I don't love feeling that way when it comes to my tool. And also for me, like the people behind the tools are really important. Like, do I have a support team that can help me? Do I have a team that's actually listening to what I'm asking for and, saying and things like that? And that's something that's also important to me across all the tools that I use. So for me, when I discovered Flodesk, it was the first time that I discovered the magic of email marketing because it was the first tool I actually wanted to use. And on that note, that's my suggestion to you guys is go check them out. They all have trials. Flodesk has a trial. And then you have a sweet coupon deal that they can use as well if they want to subscribe. And test them out. See which one that resonates with you, which one makes sense to your brain. Because I promise you'll be very impressed and surprised about how simple and intuitive Flodesk is. And that's why we see so many people come to our platform and stay on our platform is because it's something they actually enjoy using for the first time. And that's a big deal to them. And if you're not going to use the platform, then you're not going to send emails. So let's make sure you like it first. Mm-hmm. But go on there, test it out for yourself. And again, I think the Flodesk team is so different. We are woman founded. We are very close to our members. We are constantly working with partners. We are constantly ears to the ground. I am on Threads constantly talking and interacting with our audience. We have a public roadmap. We have a big Facebook group. We have all of these ways that we're interacting with our audience. And our members are the ones that are shaping our tool. And that is so important. We hear things, we take it back, we find ways to bring them what they're wanting with their feedback. And that's something that I don't think you see in a lot of tools, especially tools that are owned by really big companies. You just lose that relationship. And like, we're a small business. Many of us at Flodesk run our own small businesses. So not only are we working there, but we're using the product ourselves for our businesses. And that just changes how things are done. And that's just really cool.
Yeah.
So, and even like Michaela here, like we're talking right now, like you're using Kit, but you still you're talking to the Flodesk brand. We're still collaborating together because it's all about email marketing and making people successful. And I think that's really important. I don't think you see that in a lot of businesses. So check them out. Try it for yourself. I got to try it, have a trial, send a couple test emails, design something beautiful, and then see if it's the right choice for you. And I'm pretty positive it will be.
I feel like that was the best marketing. I feel like I should send you the recording of that 1 minute for Flodesk, because I feel like that was, I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to go back to Flodesk. But and that's something
we would love to have you.
Oh, there you go. And I do want to say also full transparency in terms of as a listener, maybe you're like, well, why is she using Kit and then talking to Flodesk? Yeah. So I just want to get into that a tiny bit because I have a lot of shop products, so that's why I use it. But I have used Flodesk in the past. I've used it for clients. I love how user-friendly it is, and something that you talk about is email marketing. You're going to keep the platform you use or whatever you said about that. But it's so true. Yeah. And that's why we actually use Wix for our website platform, because it's so much easier for our clients who are less tech savvy to be able to go in and edit versus a WordPress site that, it's very complicated to use. And so that was a big thing for me, especially before we did branding and website design, we did a lot of marketing, and I did email marketing for clients, and a lot of them use MailChimp. And it was not user-friendly, and they didn't like to go in there. They couldn't figure out how to do the segmentation. There was a lot of nickel and diming, weirdness, and for people who love MailChimp, go for it. Like you said, you have to figure out which one that you like and which ones you're going to be more likely to use. But I just wanted to add in why I promote Flodesk and why I love Flodesk for my clients and for the pet industry communities, because it's so straightforward. It's so simple to use. You can send beautiful emails without being a designer or super tech savvy. I had to put that in there because I feel like I don't know. I love Flodesk. Yeah. I think it's incredible.
Well, we love you back. And we I am in the world of tools, and tools change, people evolve. And even for us, you're talking about being a Wix user. Well, I might have seen a Wix logo in my testing environment today. We're constantly evolving at Flodesk, and constantly connecting with e-commerce platforms. Our integrations are coming in like hotcakes. You guys, our integrations have me stressed lately because there's so many of them, and I have a lot of tutorials to make. So it's something that's always evolving. And as our businesses evolve, our tools might evolve over time. That's also something really important for people, as I feel like they kind of feel like they have to make the right decision now, or maybe they did commit to MailChimp, or maybe they did commit to another platform and they feel like they can't leave. And that's up to you. Maybe you don't want to. Maybe that's not the right thing for this season of life, or maybe it is time. It's okay. And that's the best part about being a business owner, is we get to make those decisions, Yeah. I say to my daughters, everything is figure outable. And only you can decide what's important and what you want to do, and whatever that is the right answer. Mm-hmm. And that's that's a small business rant that I'm on all the time as a small business owner. Yeah. But it's important to us at Flodesk. We want you to be successful regardless of what platform you're using. And if that's not the season for you, if you're on another platform, that's fine. As long, can we help you? Or do you have other coworkers that maybe could benefit from using Flodesk instead? And that's why we're here, is we just want to make it accessible to anybody and make sure that they're welcomed with open arms.
Yeah, I love that. Well, and I love that you mentioned too, if you're not quite ready to get started with email marketing, being able to use the forms first to start generating, at least getting the list going, is incredible. So I love that. Okay, so before we wrap up, I'd love to know, where can people go to learn more about Flodesk? And I know you guys have a lot of education and resources as well. Where can people go find that?
Oh, love that. Okay, so you can find us at flodesk.com. That's Flodesk. We are also on Instagram at Flodesk. We're also pretty spicy on Threads lately. We're having a good time over there. If you want to connect with me, I'm at It's Dawn Richardson on Instagram. Come say hi there. I'm not much of a poster, but I will post stories and chat with you all the time. So come hang out with me. I'll post Flodesk updates there as well. But in terms of our education, I am actually in the process of completely rebuilding out our Flodesk University. That is a big part of what I'm doing. I currently have about 56 videos in my queue that I need to record for this. I know, right? Your eyes got as big as mine. So that is coming soon. So if you're listening to this sometime in the new year, like hopefully it will be launched by then. But in the meantime, you can find all of these tutorials I'm creating on our YouTube channel, and you can just find us at Flodesk there. So again, we're everywhere. Podcasts, we go to conferences when we can and so on. And we'd love to connect with you on any of these platforms.
Perfect. And for anybody who is interested in trying out Flodesk, I'll have my partner link for you in the show notes so that you can access that to get 50% off, which is super incredible. And then I always end up and wrap up guest interviews with a question on how you reduce stress and burnout in your own life. So I'd love to know, what is your daily or regularly practicing that you do to help reduce stress in your life?
Yeah. Okay. So this is a good one. And I come from like a very intense, like CrossFit, like HIIT workout type background. And for me, I've learned that my body actually responds better to things that are a little bit more gentle and like keeps my cortisol down and things like that. So for me, it's just walking, like just going on it, getting outside, getting in the sunlight. I have a walking pad at Flodesk. Like we all have a walking pad, and we'll have walking meetings together, like
That's
virtual
awesome.
meetings. And then, and you know, our boss Natalie, she comes back from her maternity leave with a weight vest on as she's walking. So now we all have a weight vest. Natalie, I hope you're listening to this because I bought one because of her. But just getting like moving my body a little bit more intentionally. It doesn't have to be this huge workout for it to be successful. And so for me, that's just getting outside in the morning after I take the kids to school. Lately, I've been focusing on bringing my Black Lab Luna with me just to get her some exercise too. But whenever I do that, my day is always so much better. So that's always my big goal.
Awesome. I love that so much. Well, thank you so much, Dawn. This was incredibly helpful on so many levels. Email deliverability. We talked holiday prep. We talked just emails in general. This was so helpful. So thank you so much for your time.
You're so welcome. Thank you for having me, Michaela.
Thank you. Thanks for listening to the Pet Marketing Unleashed podcast all the way to the end. You're the best. If you loved what you heard, please share the podcast with your pet biz friends. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss an episode, and leave us a 5-star review. We love to hear what you think of the show, and we are so grateful for all the support and love you show by sharing the podcast with others. And don't forget to stop by our website, petmarketingunleashed.com, where you'll find a ton of resources, recommended tools, blogs, templates, courses, and more to help you grow a stress-free and fulfilling pet business. Here's to saving time, ditching the stress, and standing out from the pack. Thanks again so much for listening, and I will be back soon with a new episode. Bye for now.